Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to the Ascension Playground. My name is Ursi, and I'm a galactic astrologer and artist. And I'm bringing you a joyful heart as Elizabeth HeartStar rejoins us. Today's going to be quite auspicious given this lunar eclipse, full moon, a blood moon that's coming. It's here. Its energies has shown up as early as September of 2024 in a cycle, and then in March of 2025. And now here we are with the third wave of this beautiful, auspicious eclipse energy. I'd like to welcome Elizabeth, and she's going to give us an incredible gift of channeling through a beautiful crystal skull. Elizabeth, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I love the blood full moon behind you because this is a total lunar eclipse. And it's magnificent. I mean, being aligned to that Pisces energy and Saturn just having retrograded to the 29th degree, which we know is the most critical. Like, let's get the Piscean age right. It's time for us to bring in what the true avatar, the Christ, was not about religion. It was about divine love and our unity and our oneness. And so I wanted to share the message that grandmother Yangtze that I received yesterday from grandmother Yangtze and grandmother Anna, the mother of Mary, came through, which was amazing. And the message was all about this lunar eclipse and these next 3 weeks. Really, because on the equinox is going to be the solar eclipse. And so that these next 3 weeks to hold, the message was remember who you really are as spiritual beings, as star beings who have come to this earth to assist in the shift of the ages. And so this time and these next 6 months until the next eclipse, which is, but especially these 3 weeks, let's just hold the light. It's, while everything's crumbling in the world and there's a lot of fear, and we came to hold the light and remember, because the dark is always seeking light. And so, I mean, that was really the main message from grandmother Yangtze and grandmother Anna, how important this time is to remember who we are and just love, just go in the heart and share our love. I mean, it's a simple message, but it's a hard one when a lot's going on in our world that can be very unsettling. Yeah. So, yeah, that was the message from the grandmothers. And the grandmother moon, she really is like our grandmother and our earth, our mother, you know, shining the light of our sun, her sun, SONSUN, to us. We're so blessed, and I just hope everyone on the planet that we can send that violet flame and transmute fear into light, into love.
Layered with this beautiful grandmother Yangtze energy and this auspicious full red moon of the eclipse, the lunar eclipse, this idea that you're sitting in Sedona, the red rock portal, this idea that you channeled through an image, a glyph for Sedna. So bringing the crystal skull, Sedona and Sedna energy, it feels palpable. And then your message, or the message that came through, the ancestors of the grandmother. So the moon is the receptive energy reflecting back the brilliant sun's light. But this red color, I wonder if this crystal skull mentioned anything about the frequency and vibration. Um,
Well, yes, because it's the blood moon, and it's the blood of our
oh,
ancestors.
oh, I love it. The blood of our ancestors. Oh, that gave me a chill right there.
I mean, we came to help heal these ancestral wounds that every culture on the planet has experienced,
Yeah.
and to be here for one another.
I
That's
think in
Aquarius.
our modern contemporary society, sometimes we forget the role, the vital role that the elders played in a community or a tribe. Today, oftentimes, especially in America, we might place our elderly into a care facility or a home, but we're not necessarily living with them and gleaning some of the wisdom of this passage of the end of life, you know? So when you're in that, let's say the third of a three-phase life, you do start thinking and reflecting upon your journey, your soul's journey for this incarnation. You start wondering about future generations, your grandchildren or your great grandchildren. And so there is that beautiful idea of how the moon has so many different phases and it is tied to a woman's cycle. But for Yangtze to come through and a grandmother Yangtze, this crystal skulls message. So what do you think the 3 week window is going to is can you say more about that? Because we're starting here in Pisces with a lunar eclipse, and then the solar eclipse will come, I think, September 22nd,
Isn't it
for a
20
solar eclipse.
29 degrees? Isn't it 29 Virgo?
Yeah, I know that this lunar one's at 15 degrees, um, 22 minutes, and then
Solar.
we round up for the lunar. But, excuse me, September 21st, 29 degrees Virgo, 5 minutes for the solar eclipse. Yeah, so wow.
So Neptune at 20, I mean, not Neptune, Saturn at 29 degrees, right? So
Yeah.
the 29th degree, we know that's the anaretic or the critical degree, like the ending, like we've got to get it right this time so that we can go into the new age, the new shift of the ages, and the zero Aries point, which is going to happen on February 20th when they're going to be most exact. But I mean, even right now, look at how close they are. Saturn and Neptune in this horoscope. They're only a few minutes apart. They're 1 degree. What? 1 degree 50 is one of them, and 1 degree 38. Saturn and Neptune. You have those beautiful slides that you did, so maybe you can show those.
Thank you. Yeah, let me bring that up. Before I do, just for those of you who are listening, that I'd like to talk a little bit. This is what's coming through about the axes of Virgo Pisces. And it turns out my own birth chart carries this seesaw energy of trying to integrate the Virgonian double Virgo Pisces moon, how a double Virgo emphasis on health, devoted service, and analysis, really focus, working with Mercury to focus in on how to solve the answer, oftentimes about health, and then to work with the Pisces, the exact opposite energy. And as you already mentioned, this idea of compassion, the grandmotherliness, this idea of being around all the 11 other zodiacal houses to get to Pisces, which is the ocean of the subconscious, the unconscious, the dream, to then pivot us into the next level. And so this is where I feel a strong sense of the galactic wanting to come in. It's like time and structures are shifting. So when Saturn goes into that 29th anaretic degree, boom, it's this idea of how time will change for us, our awareness, perhaps that it's nonlinear, it's non-local. We're going to be more quantum and living in a different way of seeing ourselves as human beings, moving towards more of a light body. So it's fascinating to me. So that's what's coming up for me with this blood moon. And yeah, I'll shift to these slides if you'd like. So for those who are brand new to what is an eclipse, I just thoroughly enjoy, for those of you who've been watching the Ascension Playground for a couple of years, I just love sharing the wisdom that's coming through. So for me on the Pacific coast of California, this total lunar eclipse will happen on September 7th, Sunday at 11:09. So believe me, in the morning, the number 11, the angelic, two ones holding space, and then the 9, this idea of completion. So for me, of course, I kind of read into the numerology, but let's figure out what the heck is an eclipse. So I pulled from Wikipedia. It's this idea of, if you see my little arrow, here's the earth and here's the sun, and the sun is shining its light on the earth. And wouldn't you know, here comes the moon. The moon goes into the exact shadow of the earth. And for those of you who are more science-based, I think that's going into the earth's umbra. Could have that name wrong, but I think it's umbra for the shadow. And so it's fascinating, this whole relationship, right, of earth, sun, and moon. Anyway, and I'm, for those of you who like diagrams, here's an easier to see one. Here's the sun, here's the earth orbiting around the sun, and then here's our moon. So it's this lineup. And this medieval picture basically reminds me to share that in ancient of days, whenever the eclipses were coming, it was ominous, when the light stopped. This is a lunar eclipse. So what's going to happen is the moon will turn red. And it's a full lunar eclipse, which means there's an exactitude here, an exact lineup. Now, as many of you know, I enjoy looking at the Sabian symbols. What is the archetypal energy being carried by the sun at this moment of time? And so it's hitting at 15 degrees, 22 minutes. We round up, as many of us follow Pam Gregory's work. The Sabian symbol moves to Pisces 16. And I love this gentleman named James Burgess, who has a website. So finding grace in the stillness, in this flow of inspiration. I'm thinking again of Grandmother Yangtze, right? She's telling us this 3-week window, pay attention, tune into the compassion and empathy of the Pisces energy of all that is. So this is really a time to stop and be still. And for all of us who are creative, and I'm including everybody, if you do take the time to sit still, I do believe this idea of flow of inspiration with this eclipse, perfect time to meditate. And who knows what download may come to you or to your community, or what you might even anchor into to Gaia to help support this great time of evolution. Dane Rudger added to the Sabian symbol, the astrologer Dane, and he said, in the quiet of his study, a creative individual experiences a flow of inspiration. I mean, Elizabeth, I'm just seeing you with the crystal skull, and maybe we can get a picture and share it on the Ascension Playground, especially for September 7th. And we're talking today, the day before the eclipse. So we're already feeling this energy. So this is a message for all of us. And then galactically, for those of you who are tracking galactic astrology, the conjunction of a star named Achernar in the constellation of Eridanus. Eridanus is like the great river in the celestial heavens. So at the very end of the river is a star, Achernar. Look at this, 15 degrees, 41 minutes, Elizabeth, while the moon is sitting at 15 degrees, 22 minutes. I mean, it's just about an exact conjunction. So what does that mean? You don't have to look at the houses. I did this, cast this chart for my area, but for everyone, this eclipse is going to be embracing Achernar. So in studying galactic astrology, we go right up here, the sun in Virgo, 15 degrees, 22 minutes, with Elizabeth, a 0 degree, 19-minute conjunction. 19, right? There's the 1 and the 9, the alpha and the omega. It's conjunct our moon and opposing the sun. So the eclipse. It's also working with the nodes, north and south node. So what does it mean to have this Achernar star energy work with the eclipse? Well, first of all, knowing about the star, here it is on the Great River. Boom, the star is at the very end of the flow of energy. It's a very odd shape, flattest known star. So it's already irregular. That's going to be working with our eclipse. And here it goes. Achernar is said to mean the ability to handle crises. So let's just hold space and not, with our hearts of love, and just hold this idea that whatever's going to happen, I'm ready. It's a very Girl Scout kind of mentality. Prepare for the unexpected. So if you know that you have a personal planet conjoining Eridanus and this eclipse at this time, you might have an innate ability to work with crises. You could be an emergency technician or someone who works with disaster relief. I just want to say if you study galactic astrology, you're starting to see there's an energetic traits that happen, but it's all about the flow of water. So the Sabian symbol of the flow of inspiration, tuning into the emotional with Pisces, there seems to be a very common theme happening about emotional awareness, attuned to that which makes us most human, our emotional awareness. So lastly, I wanted to show you this again, how auspicious it is showing up. I just put in all the stars in the heavens. You mentioned Saturn sitting at 29 degrees retrograde in Pisces as well. There's a couple of stars in Pegasus, Shiat, and Markab that are working with the nodal and Saturnian energy of this eclipse. And I just want to say lastly, sorry for the slideshow, but the awesome astrologer Bernadette Brady works with a different way of seeing the heavens. It's called visual astrology. So if those of you who are tracking Pam, you may also know Heather Ensworth. Heather talks about this visual astrology that attunes to Bernadette's work. She says the heliacal rising star, when we look at that moment of the eclipse, we see coming up from the underworld, this idea that it is Alphard, the largest constellation in the heavens, the great water snake. So here we've got a water snake with the heart of the snake being Alphard, and Bernadette saying this eclipse is sharing living life close to the edge with intense emotional encounters. So Elizabeth, we have a huge water snake and the river Eridanus all working with this eclipse portal.
Yes.
I like to talk in terms of pictures so people can see. You have the gift of channeling, of closing the eyes and going within to bring us messages. And you also pulled, I understand, a star card for us.
You did.
But it's
Well,
all water, 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 and deep emotional
it actually
issues coming up for everybody.
I was guided to pick from the Isis Oracle, and it was beautiful, the card that came up, because it's Lady of the Stars, Priestess of Sirius. So I just wanted to read the first little bit because it's so beautiful. Sirius is a celestial goddess, a star of unconditional love and wisdom at an extremely high vibration. It brings deep soul awakening, spiritual gifts, a high capacity for divine service. Lady of the Stars is also an empowerment of all the other oracles. She tells you to pay attention because something significant is taking place right now. Sirius's energy takes the inner path, the spiritual healing journey into a whole new stratosphere. Wise, ancient, and extremely high vibrational energy. And so Jupiter is in Cancer and is still, I mean, it's been going over Sirius. Now it's what, a few degrees past Sirius, but still that water energy. And even the moon, the water, the blood, the waters of our earth is the blood of our earth mother. I mean, it's so much about the ancestral healing that's taking place with the sun in Virgo, you know, um, Virgo being the Virgin Goddess, right? The largest constellation in our zodiac.
Well, she's the largest feminine one. um, let's see, the constellation um,
Of the
of
zodiac.
the great, oh, of the zodiac. You're right.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Of the zodiac, because I
You're
looked
right, of
it
the
up. I
zodiac.
said that and I was like, why
You're
am I
right.
saying that? And so I looked it up in the zodiac, not of all the
And
constellations.
she used to be called Estrella, I believe. And she used to hold a Libra, the scales. Did you know that? Like
No,
she was
but
so large, they cut things off and so that scales of justice used to be with her.
and that they're the claws of the scorpion. So Libra was kind of put in because
That's right.
like you have to be married because you're either a virgin or a whore or else a Libra. That's what I heard sometime. They like stuck Libra in between the virgin and the scorpion, right? It's
Oh
like,
my God.
let's
You're
make
right.
this contract so that you're legal.
So we've heard so much about, the return of the divine feminine and to step into your divine authority and to balance the masculine and feminine, the divine archetypes of the two. But going back to this eclipse trining Jupiter in Cancer, it just feels so auspicious. It's like our faith, Jupiter, our expansion and long distance travel, Galactic, working with the mother and the grandmother energy. Because all life, human life, comes through like this blood, right? And like you were talking about earlier, and the karmic cleansing of the blood is what I'm hearing now. Like there's a great potential to really break with ancestral patterns that no longer serve each of us. And so for me, what's coming up, I'm just hearing it, is Ursula is still working. Oh, no, excuse me. Ursula is very much aware during this eclipse because the eclipse brings what's behind us in our own shadow up front. So Ursula's going to work on how her body connects with her emotions and her worry for her children. And I learned from my ancestry that I'm always responsible for everybody. And where did that come from? And how many generations? Like when you feel responsible for everybody, there's no peace. There's no trust that your journey. This is mine. This is my lane. That's yours. So again, if eclipses are new, it's whatever is like in your back subconscious, your ancestral, this is how we always do it. But yeah, but is it working for you to always feel guilty or to feel anxious or neurotic about not being able to control other people's choices, poor choices sometimes, most of the time?
Yeah, bringing the shadow into the light so we can see our shadow and love it and let it go, whatever is not, like you said, serving us. So this Virgo is so much about healing,
Yeah.
healing the wounds.
Yeah. And holding that in the digestion of the
Yeah.
body, the how we parse out the good food and nourishment and discard that which no longer works. So look at that. It's like, what no longer can we tolerate or digest? Sitting in this photonic light belt where we've never been before, galactically, it's like we can no longer, we have to all get lighter. Vibrationally, consciousness is asking us, demanding for us. But going back to Jupiter, it brings that optimism, right? There's hope. There's hope with this trine to Jupiter in Cancer. I just feel like, thank you. However bad it's going to feel,
Yeah.
because Achenar could have more sudden fires, flooding, earthquakes, the whole shebang, instead of thinking and worrying about what may come, to shift that into I'm ready as part of the whole birthing of the new age of, moving into this much more Aquarian life.
Yeah. And then Venus in Leo, and not far from a sextile to Mars. And Mars is not that far from Arcturus and Spica, right? I mean, it will be getting closer and closer, Mars.
Yeah. In fact, as we're talking, let me go ahead and give you that graphic so you can
Yeah.
talk from it, because I think let's see, here we go. I'm going to go back.
Yeah,
Here,
where
let's do this one.
Mars is. Oh yeah, and what's near Venus? That's what I'm curious. That 15, almost 16 degrees of Leo, where Venus is.
Here it is, right up here.
Mm.
15 degrees. So we have Alphard. We have the heart of the great water snake. This is the largest constellation in the heavens, right? So you corrected me and said Virgo is the largest zodiac
Yes.
in the heavens. I mean, there aren't too many females up in the celestial heavens, but Virgo's a big one. And she used to have wings, So this idea that, and when I saw the 11-9, this idea of the angelic returning back to a higher vibration and getting out of this density.
Yes.
Let's see. And so we were talking about Jupiter. So here's Jupiter, right? 19 degrees, 2 minutes in Cancer. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Just, just beautiful.
And then Mars is not what, it's just a few degrees from Sirius and Spica. Do you say Spica or Spica?
I say Spica, but I'd like to comment about Sirius A from your card pull by Elena Fairchild, the Isis Oracle deck,
Yes.
because Sirius is the brightest star in our heavens. So it seems like all the energy is the biggest, the longest, the brightest. It just feels quite auspicious that very powerful energies are coming in. It's not like soft and gentle or background music. It's all front and center. Like it's a wake up call for each of us to consider now's a really good time to reset. Now's a really good time to flush out, be aware of and flush out anything that's not working for you.
Yes.
But here's Sirius A, the card that you pulled, so close to Jupiter, 14 degrees, Cancer, and then Jupiter is sitting at 19. So it's interesting you pulled the Sirius card,
Yes.
right?
Yes, and as you were speaking, it reminded me because, after my meditation every morning, because my Arcturian guide asked me to channel, I have been. So I forgot the message that came through. Actually, the Lady of the Stars is Ra, who comes through. And the message was about how all the galactics are being called to Sirius right now to assist us during this eclipse. And I forgot about that. How,
That's a wow.
I mean,
No, you're remembering it now. That's
yes,
amazing.
but you mentioned that, and it was like,
Phi O Ra. That's the being's name.
yes, that's the priestess that lives in the Temple of the Stars that channels through and just started really to channel through right at the last eclipse, really. I mean, in March. And yeah, I mean, it was a few days. It was probably last week, and so when you said that, it was like, oh my gosh,
I know.
that was like they were being called for. I mean, like the galactics that are concerned about the evolution of our planet Earth and how important this time is, and they're all meeting in Sirius. The ascended masters, the angel, whoever's committed to this evolution of our planet and helping us with the shift of the ages, so we don't again, we're at that spiral, of Atlantis. We're not going to fall this time. It's not going to happen because we know who we are, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
That is that just like it just ramped up even more the volume. That's really incredible. Lady of the Stars, Sirius A, and then Yangtze, grandmother Yangtze bringing in Anna. So
Yeah.
let's tune in to grandmother Anna, the mother of Mary. And I just
They're Mary. And oh my gosh, if anybody is in Brittany or goes to Brittany, I went to see the Karnak stones, which was amazing. But when we were leaving the Karnak stones, a friend had this travel book and she said, "Oh, let's go to the Saint Anne d'Auray, like of the Ray." I don't know what it means in French because I don't know French, but it's Saint Anne D Day D Auray. And oh my gosh, that's calling me back. So when before Yangtze brought through the energy of Anna, I was like, I was there again because I have never felt a presence so strong as that cathedral. It's the same story as when Guadalupe appeared to the peasant. Well, if you read about this place, Saint Anne de Auray, or however you pronounce it, it's the same story. It was a peasant in the village there that Saint Anne came, and I think there was a cathedral or something that had come to ruins, or it wasn't. And Saint Anne came, and the peasant said, "We have to rebuild this." And I have never felt such a strong presence. That I want to go back to go there. Here it was Karnak, and I went to Mont Saint-Michel and all these places, but
God.
oh my gosh, the presence of, and so that's what I was feeling before Yangtze, brought through the grandmother energy and how this lunar eclipse is the ancestral grandmothers.
Wow, there's so much. Oh, I just Googled Aurey and it means
Auray, yes.
Aoray.
I think it's a-
Well, let's see if it's the same meaning. So,
I think maybe, do I have it right?
well, if it's what Rey is golden.
Oh,
So I have a feeling it's Saint Anne of the Golden Light,
the ray.
so I, that's what it feels like to me when you're speaking.
I mean, it was like, seriously, I want to go
Seriously.
serious.
Oh my God. So let's go back to Sirius for a minute. So, if you study like ancient um, Egyptian mythology, they talk about this idea of, getting in the solar light boat and the pharaohs with their animals and family returning to oftentimes Sirius A as one of the major portals. I mean, we have other ones like Alcyone, but Sirius is a huge portal, but it's also I'm sensing Galactic Federation gathering.
Yes.
And I was just listening on Gaia TV to some cosmic disclosure that actually had a higher frequency than what I normally hear. And they were talking about why did all these spaceships come and crash in Nevada in 1956? And the reason one of these ETs that stayed alive said was what Palladian said is because we heard a bomb go off. And so that testing of nuclear bombing in Nevada, here come these spaceships, they crash, unfortunately. But then we learned from this one Palladian, and there was another, I think, an Eben that also they couldn't get him to figure out how to speak English, but the Palladian they did. And so for me, just to understand that a galactic gathering, you're saying Sirius A now, it's to help support, like, one, what's going on, because we're all affected by a nuclear bomb within our solar system and beyond, like it's all connected. But two, that it's this idea of benevolence coming in to try and help as we learn to move from fear into love and moving into the next dimensions. And it's all about frequency and consciousness.
Yeah.
So I think what's coming through to you with, was it Phi O Ra? Can you repeat that
Yes, it's
again? Because I feel like that star message is
phi,
really
it's
to be
phi,
restated.
which is the golden mean. O,
Here's
uh,
the word golden,
Ra, Ra, the eye of Ra, the right eye of Ra.
which I had pink eye, which was very red, right eye.
Felt
Just
like it was a message from Ra for you. You know, it's like opening up your masculine side, you know, the right eye.
yeah, that
Yeah,
was intense.
yeah,
No one gets pink eye when they're my age, right? Usually you have it when you're a kid. But anyway, it happened. And yeah, I see how the body helps give me messages. So when you sent that over, I had forgotten too. And it seems so important now. It's like things are not, the synchronicities are gaining, and the card pulling from a pure heart. Tell me what's happening, what's going on. The stars are really saying we're here to support you. And it feels like it's saying get ready. It's
yeah,
get ready in a positive way. Like start packing, get
yeah,
ready.
right.
Uh Vibrationally. We don't have to go out, we go in, you
Yeah.
know? So
And
grandma's still living in me. Yeah.
and then I mean it's almost the almost exact that minor grand trine, which with Pluto at 1 degree 39 minutes of Aquarius, Uranus and Sedna at 1 degree, Uranus at 1 degree 27 minutes, and Sedna at 1 degree 50 minutes of Gemini, trining Pluto. And then Saturn and Neptune, I mean, Neptune is 1 degree 11 minutes. So the 1 degrees, you know, I mean, that's like, to me, that's what you were saying. It's or they're saying, "Hey, we're here to help you." Like, you know, and that minor grand trine, which I believe is even more powerful than a grand trine because it's like it's being developed. It's like to its like exponential grand trine energy. It's like working the muscle, like we're here.
That's
Like
a good point. That's
uh,
a good point.
I always loved those minor grand. I didn't like calling them minor grand trines because I don't feel they're minor. I feel like they're really major, but they're called minor grand trines. I was calling it a kite, but that was wrong because I felt like it was energy that flies. It's a kite when it's on a grand trine, right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
I was like, I don't like calling it a minor grand trine, so I was calling it kite. And then I think it was Linda Bird who said, "That's not a kite." I was like,
Oh, I know. Don't
yeah,
we love Linda?
call it a minor grand trine again.
Yeah.
I think
That's
it,
why it's good to have sisterhood so we can help like
yeah,
inspire each other. But I'm just looking because you pointed out Neptune as the ruler of Pisces with this Virgo Pisces eclipse energy. 1 degree 11 minutes is what's showing up on my chart for Neptune working with this lunar eclipse. So 111,
oh,
Neptune, really this calling out for empathy. So even though we know eclipses are beginnings and endings, light and dark, the shadow coming forward into the light, what is beginning for you? We first oftentimes need an ending. We build, we have to let go to build. So there's this idea of alpha, omega. And I'm just still getting this idea that I think the whole collective with Mother Earth, we're going to have this chance to get this huge download. I'm getting chills. Like if there are enough of us who are awake right now to help support the collective. And
yeah,
so it's not about the politics. It's not about the religion. It's not about whole sign astrology or not. It's really about us as individuals carrying this light of the stars and remembering who we are. I mean, fully saying, but we're not solo. We're really working in more of these pods or matrices with Mother Earth, with the beautiful moon, with the sun. So isn't it interesting? Like sun, moon, earth.
yeah,
These are the brightest
yeah,
lights
right.
defining us.
the dance. And then eclipse cycles, if people don't know, they're timelines. They're 12 to 1500 year cycles. So it's, we have full moons every month, but when they're eclipse full moons, which happen every 6 months, they're a whole timeline that we're collectively, you know, and this being that the sun is in Virgo, it's really is this eclipse of our collective healing the traumas and the wounds from the Piscean age to bring in, the energy of Pisces, which is, like you said, the cosmic ocean, all this water energy where we just come together as one.
Yeah, and I'm hearing a reminder that, the ancient ruler for Pisces is Jupiter,
Right.
and how we were talking about this trine to Jupiter in Cancer. So it's like, so like boom, boom, boom. Are you ready to let go? So if you're new to astrology, maybe we can just like summarize it down, Elizabeth, like, because we got galactic, we got astro, we got all this other stuff, but I would say get ready to carve out time, give yourself a gift of time during this eclipse. Sure, if you can do it when it's most potent. For us on the Pacific, it's going to be 11:09 a.m. on September 7th. But even if you're hearing this later, you can port yourself back to that moment of maximum eclipse, blood moon, full eclipse energy, and just say, show me what wants to get balanced and moved through me and integrated. Because you mentioned the equinox, and that equinox energy, we're going to go through a lunar eclipse, then a solar eclipse, and then the equinox of this balancing of light and dark. So, how, if you give yourself the gift of time to sit, and I know it's hard, we're living busy, busy lives, but the potential to sit still, even let's just say, put a timer on 10 minutes and connect in and think of the stars, the moon, the sun, the earth, and just say, dance with me. And I don't have to know everything, but here I am. I am, and I am present. And I am present 3 times. I am present, and nothing to do, just really going in. There's no like physical going out. It's just this, I'm present. It's almost like showing up, right? Roll call, I'm here. Whatever's going to happen for the greater good, I'm here. So that's my summary. What about you, Elizabeth?
Well, yes, exactly that. And just like the gratitude to our grandmothers and the ancestors and our star ancestors, our star heritage and lineage, they're with us, you know, that we're not alone. And, really just kind of being, whenever I see like a grand trine, I always say to someone, just be in the triangle or the pyramid, and just the blessings, allow the blessings of the ancestors, the star beings that are within us, that are us,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh, you're giving me these underscores of that word grand, the grandmother, the
Yeah.
grand trine, this idea of grand. And Elizabeth, do you remember the biology? This is where I'm a little bit iffy. That is it true that I was in my grandmother when she was alive? And so therefore I was carrying my grandchild's energy. There's something biologically that I just didn't understand. I mean, it skipped like your mother and went into your grandmother. It's a
Right.
physical thing, but
I know it makes sense, doesn't it?
yeah, something with the eggs.
Yes. I'd like to know. No, because I mean, I feel that I was so close to my grandmother Rose, and then my granddaughter. I mean, it's a different. Yeah, there's something about them carrying. I'd like to know what that biology is.
Okay, maybe I'll go sleuth and find out. But I can actually see a graphic of, here's a picture of grandmother, And yes, she carries your mother. Oh, I get it. When she's pregnant with your mother is carrying the eggs of you. Do you
Right.
see that?
Yes. Oh, that's right. Oh,
Oh my
yeah.
God. Now I'm getting a chill.
Yes.
So again, let me say it again. So think of your grandmother pregnant with your mom.
Mhm.
And when she's carrying your mom, you're basically an egg inside your mom.
Right.
So this idea of carrying the future generation, and wow, it's
Wow.
pretty
I love
profound. Like,
that. And thinking about Saint Anne carrying Mary and Mary giving birth to Christ, to Yeshua,
oh,
right?
and yet she's not usually part of the picture too much. You know what I mean? Without grandmother, we wouldn't have mother and we wouldn't have child.
Like I said, that place, just like
Yeah.
it was incredible. The light. And here I was at these magical places, and just talking about, oh, because a friend of mine who's an esoteric astrologer named Philip Lindsay, who's wonderful, he's from, I think, Australia, but he's living in Portugal. And he was going to be in Karnak, but he was going to get there the day that I was leaving. But then we talked because they're called the alignments, the stones in Karnak, Karnak, or C, in Karnac, I think it is, or with a C, I don't know, um, in Brittany. I always wanted to see them. They're called the alignments. And I was like, well, why are they called the alignments? And then when we talked months later, he said, oh, you did the opposite of the pilgrim's path, or from Egypt, those alignments to Stonehenge, because I did Stonehenge, with the group, went to Brittany, and then went to Egypt that year. He said, "Oh, you did." I don't know if he called it the Pilgrim's Path, but this is like this pathway. Because I asked all these people, they call them the alignments, and nobody knew why they were called alignments or what they were aligned to. Well, Brittany was a part of Britain, so these stones used to, you know,
Right.
the,
Right.
yeah,
The ley lines. And so what's coming through to me, because didn't you call that Stargate Merlin?
yes,
And now it feels like there's Stargate Anna.
yes.
We're not doing the Mary ley line, but it feels like you're bookending Stargate Merlin, the masculine older male, to Stargate Anna, grandmother, and you're in the middle.
And Isis.
And Isis. So what I'm going to do is we're going to say thank you, and we're going to come back in a little bit, and I'll do a separate video on the cards that you pulled, because if you didn't know, Elizabeth, astrologer, channeler, skull guardian, two skulls, right? And
Yes,
you
HeartStar.
gave me this
You
beautiful
HeartStar,
reading,
because HeartStar actually
HeartStar.
came through from the Pleiades to the Earth.
I get a little creeped out looking. Hi, HeartStar.
HeartStar is very friendly, see? And little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, to be a guardian, but also to have created an oracle or a deck. So, Elizabeth, I'll see you soon. We'll go ahead and say goodbye to everyone on the Ascension Playground. This is how we rock. We share, we inspire. This is not really scripted at all. We're just playing in the joy and sharing our chat with you. So we
Yeah.
want to give warm hugs to everybody. We're going to do this. We're going to be present. We're going to do roll call. I'm here on the beautiful lunar eclipse and solar eclipse. And what I'm being reminded to share is during that portal of time between September 7th and September 21st, this is a portal, right? And so watch what ends and what begins, because it's already been working its magic with you. And you may not have paid attention to it, but maybe relationships will end, so new ones will come. Not to fear, just to say, there you are, or a new place to live. It all depends on where the eclipse is showing up in your personal natal chart. And so, anyway, big hugs to everybody. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank
See you
you,
all
Ernest.
next time.
It's fun. I love you.
Love you too.